To our series, Exploring Esoteric Secret Societies. Through this series, we'll examine and challenge our current mindsets and understanding of esoteric teachings, and take an opportunity to do a deep dive into the importance to explore and review ancient knowledge and wisdom. The traditions of all mystery schools throughout time have been held together by a common thread, a common order of the wisdom knowledge keepers, known from our current post-Atlantean epoch as the Rosicrucian order. Now, even today, their knowledge is practiced by initiates with various organizations, such as the Masons, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, and modern-day members of the Rosicrucian order. The Rosicrucian order is a philosophical and educational organization, not a religion. The Rosicrucians are mystics of enlightenment. They were a legendary and historical secret society that emerged in the 17th century Europe, claiming to possess esoteric wisdom and the power to reform religion, science, and the arts. Their origins are centuries old. While their existence is debated, the Rosicrucian movement had a significant impact on intellectual occult thought. They believe in secret wisdom traditionally passed down through ancient times that can transform humanity. By revealing hidden knowledge about the universe, the spiritual realm, and the natural world, they combine elements of occultism, Hermeticism, Jewish mysticism, and Christian Gnosticism. Key beliefs include the importance of spiritual advancement, selfless service, and the study of natural laws to live in harmony with them. Centuries ago, they were actually alchemists who used alchemy as an allegory for refining their qualities for the more dense to the more refined. In themselves, it's about personal transformation. Their core beliefs and practices begin with spiritual enlightenment, the pursuit of divine knowledge through transformation and mystical experiences. Alchemy as a metaphor, not just turning lead into gold, but refining the soul, transmuting ignorance into wisdom. Unity of science and spirit, they champion the harmony between scientific inquiry and spiritual insight, a concept that resonates deeply with modern holistic approaches. They also believed in universal brotherhood, emphasized compassion, interconnectedness, and service to humanity. Geometric light codes and symbols, as well as sound and light through the mystical semiotics. How does this influence modern spirituality? Rosicrucianism has profoundly shaped contemporary spiritual movements. It's through New Age philosophies, holistic healing, and even quantum spirituality. The Rosicrucians' view of the universe as a web of vibrational energies aligns with modern ideas about consciousness and the interconnectedness of all life. In a world increasingly hungry for meaning beyond materialism, Rosicrucians' ideals offer a timeless path, one of inner alchemy, cosmic harmony, and the sacred quest for truth. Welcome, everyone, to Andromeda 7, your celestial gateway. Hey, it's Friday night, and it's time to feed your mind and grow your heart. Welcome, everyone. It's good to have you with us. Well, we're back for our second part 2 on exploring esoteric secret societies. Nick has brought this information to us with the Rosicrucians. It's been a fascinating trip. We absolutely loved what was going on last week, and he's got more to present tonight. And we're going to learn about gender and how it's looked at with the soul. It's fascinating, really, really good stuff. So let's go ahead and see who's in chat real quick. Say hello to everybody. Looks like it's the trio tonight, so it's the 3 of us tonight. So welcome. Scotty Boy, always a pleasure. Good to see you in chat. Number 1. Lucky Stone, good to see you as well. Thank you so much for popping in. Always a pleasure seeing you in the chat stream. Steve Bowe, who is on time tonight. Steve gets a big clap. Yay, Steve's on time. Love you,
Must
Steve.
be snowing where he lives.
Love it. Let's see. Sophia, good to see you. Hi, Sophia. We know you're out there. Yep, I know you're burning the candle at both ends.
I'll tell you, she's like laying there right now going.
I'm just glad to see her in chat. Love and support. Love you for that, sister. That's for sure. And let's see, who else do we have? Jasmine, good to see you as well. I miss seeing you on screen, but I'm glad that you're here. And thank you for the love and support as well. Yep, love it all. Let's see, Elizabeth Bauer, good to see you tonight. Love it, love it. Miss Chloe, good to see you as well. I hope everything's going okay for you, Chloe. I know you had a rough week there for a while, but everything should be good for you now. I hope. Anyway, all right. Well, Nick, do you want to talk a little bit about where we're going tonight? It's going to be a pretty deep dive, and there's going to be a lot of information. So I hope you guys got your popcorn, you're nice and comfy, got your libation or your water or your drink, whatever it is you're doing. And now we're going to get into this. So you want to explain a little bit, Nick, about what we're going to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
So first off, welcome everyone to part 2 of this series. If you've missed part 1, make sure you look over it after the live when you get a chance to. Otherwise, you might be a little lost and confused. So this part of the Rosicrucian teachings, we're going to be talking about the next stages of the epochs. I really like the way how they did it in their doctrine because it goes in order with how it got developed. So
linearly speaking.
Yes, so that's even more of a reason why it's important to watch part 1. So,
and I did create a playlist for you folks, so you'll see the second one along with the first one after tonight's show. So, check the playlist.
Yep, there's gonna be a lot of illumination in regards to the symbolism of things. There's gonna be a lot of illumination in regards to what the flame of life represents. As if you remembered last week, I brought up the flame a couple times. We're going to dive into what that actually is, along with how inorganic matter by a science standard isn't actually inorganic, it's alive, and how we can find those connections. So that's going to be the main topics for tonight.
Okay,
awesome.
All right, you want me to pop up your info?
Yep, I'm ready when you are.
Okay.
Grandpa Brian will pop in a bit later. Yep.
There we go. All right. Got the button clicked.
Okay. Can they see it?
Hang on just a second here.
Okay.
There we go. Now we can see it. All right.
There it is.
Yep.
All right.
Nice and big too.
Yep. All right. So part 4, the Universal Androgyne, Epoch 2, the Hyperborean Age. So wait, hold on. Whoa. I had it on the wrong page. Let me. All right. Cool. Okay.
So this is another one of those worldwide universal wisdom teachings that you find in all different kinds of societies, right?
Yeah. So with the third aphorism of creation, it highlights the world soul made by the eternal parent is a bisexual universal being. Whoa. This being combining masculine and feminine elements is called the universal hermaphrodite or the universal androgyne in Rosicrucian teachings. A hermaphrodite has both male and female traits. The term comes from Hermes and Aphrodite. The legend of Hermaphroditus, son of Hermes and Aphrodite, tells of this union with the nymph Salmaxis. This concept appears in many esoteric traditions, from Atlantis to India and so on. A related symbol is Baphomet, representing duality and embodying both male and female aspects. So that's what the symbolism between the hands are. Above is divinity, lowering is the profane, but Baphomet as an entity also has breasts and a phallus underneath, so that represents duality of the gender.
Now, is Baphomet a typical Rosicrucian symbol?
So Baphomet originates more so on pagan traditions and Satanist traditions.
Okay.
Usually, for a rule of thumb, if it's pagan related, that means it was related before any of the Epoch 5 secret societies, because pagan held on to traditions from Epoch 4, which is Atlantis.
One of the founders, Thomas Christ.
Yeah.
In the Library of Thomas, for Rosicrucians, do you see this symbol over my shoulder here? This is a traditional Rosicrucian symbol as well, to represent what you're talking about. And this is what they hang on their walls in their temples.
Wow.
And it shows the different hands and the two faces, the duality.
Oh, okay.
So it's a very, it was introduced quite some time ago by Thomas.
So this might be a little bit confusing for people coming in. So spirit really is masculine and feminine combined. Okay, so when you're whole in spirit, you are one in the same. It's a combination. And that's kind of interesting, because when we're in the earth school, we're one or the other. And so we're always trying to make this designation between the two, but it's really a combination. So it's just what you're here to work on. If you're masculine, you're here to work on the masculine energy. So it's fascinating to me how this all plays out.
Yeah, so basically this concept is stating that the universal egg that we talked about in episode 1 is both genders, respectively, in a balance. It's both female and male in nature. And as a result of that, that technically means everything within its sphere is also male and female at certain aspects. So that's that can be represented in like the yin and yang symbol in Taoism. It's like how on the black part of the symbol has a little bit of white, and then on the white part of the symbol has a little bit of black. It's the same concept. It's showing that the masculine side has a little bit of feminine, and the feminine side has a little bit of masculine. That's also part of what it represents. So
interesting.
Oh dang, what happened? Wait, Jasmine came in here to mess with it. I don't know what she did to it.
She's got you on the presentation part of it.
Yeah.
Technical support in 5, 4, 3.
Yeah. She made it fit the screen better. So what that happened was it made it reset to the beginning.
Okay.
But yeah, let me just sit.
Sorry, she's getting there.
Yeah.
Okay. That was the end.
Okay, here we go. All right.
Yep.
Now we got it.
Yeah. So now we can go to the next one.
Okay.
So the true Rosicrucian teachings view sex as noble and dignified. They emphasize that it has nothing to do with phallicism. And I got curious. I was like, why do they keep bringing up this phallicism cult, and it turns out that it's actually very commonplace, and it's in plain sight. So I found some of their symbolisms. They got it in England, they got it in the Ireland, they have it on the Pompeii tombstones, they have it in India, they have it in Egypt. Barber poles is what that represents, and then lo and behold, the Washington Monument also represents phallic worship. So when I found this out, I was like, oh my God, no wonder our entire culture is hypersexual.
You know what I think it is?
And
I think it's, okay, you remember how we went in the different epochs at different stages of Earth's descension?
yeah.
So it was during the Atlantean time that most of us believe, even though we don't have any written documentation, but we have enough data from anecdotal evidence. But to me, it's an outward reflection in the physical reality of this world, because they went from a matriarchal to patriarchal society. Lemuria and the land of Mu and all of that was very heavily female ruled and operated.
Yes.
The
yes,
females got too far out of balance. The male energy came in to balance it, but then the male energy became too far to one side of it. And so they started creating these kinds of things to express the authority of the male. So it wasn't about worshiping a phallic symbol or worshiping the body part of the male in a sexual context per se, but it was more of a statement. Here's our monument, our power, our masculine divine power. And I think it became a worldwide manifestation of that energy of asserting the masculine. And that's why you see it in all the art and architecture, because we're still in that age. We're just now starting to get more divine feminine balance, but right? That's how I see it, as opposed to a cult worshiping the male body part.
Right. Yeah. So Rosicrucians and phallicism, they're two different entirely organizations, and for whatever reason, phallicism went about its corrupting the teachings, and is part of the reason why some people have such suspicions on if Rosicrucians are actually, for man or against it.
Oh, so you're saying this phallic order is within Rosicrucianism?
No, the phallic order has these things called agent saboteurs, which are basically implants that goes into any organization, not just Rosicrucians. Okay. So that's why it's helpful to discern between what is correct teachings and what is false, because they're not going to admit to you who they are. So paying attention to their actions will help you discern if they're for humanity or against it.
I've seen that on the on the feminine side too, though.
Oh,
you would believe the number of women who come into these chat rooms and saying, down with the guys and up with the females.
Oh, yeah. That's old gender war.
Exterminate the males and gender wars.
I go into detail about that a little bit in this. But I just found out how rampant phallicism is. Basically, if you see an obelisk of any kind, that's technically a symbol for phallicism worship. And if you know anything about false idols and why that is totally incorrect, well, that's all that needs to be said about it. Hence why, and it corrupts what you're really supposed to be about. It hypersexualizes people, and it makes people ruin the ritual of sex because it becomes something perverted rather than sacred. So, phallicism not only is false idolship, but it's also imbalancing the masculine side of things, saying that masculine is superior over feminine, which, if you understand the nature of the reality, which one I'm talking about with the Universal Androgyne, you would know that is completely incorrect and false.
Gotcha.
So the true symbolism of the androgyne. In many ancient philosophies, the cross is a plus sign, symbolizes the male, while the circle represents the female, reflecting cycles like day and night. The sphere signifies all reality, and the cross stands for the growth within it. The ankh symbolizes balance between genders, contrary to modern views that see it as a masculine symbol. Historical conflicts often involved struggle over gender's dominance, disrupting harmony. True teachings emphasizing balance, both masculine and feminine energies, rather than promoting oppression or retaliation. So yes, this symbol right here, a lot of people, especially young men that are into the occult, start thinking it's a power symbol for masculine, when in reality that is imbalancing them, and it's why you get radicals like the Black Israelites, or the Muslim faiths, or the Jewish Zionist faiths, or the oppressive Christian faiths like Jehovah's Witnesses, or even Catholicism to a degree. It's they go on to these symbols thinking it's pure masculine Abrahamic faith, and it imbalances them. It makes them feel like they're above the other gender, and that can cause corruption. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
A good story that I like to bring up is in regards to the Holy Trinity concept, when it's called the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, right? Well, unbeknownst to most Abrahamic faith worshippers, the Holy Spirit is actually representing the female gender. So what happened is before Abrahamics and Canaanite faiths started disliking each other, they used to be part of the same whole. The Canaanites preferred the female aspect of the Holy Trinity, while the Abrahamic faiths favored the masculine side. So it wasn't called the Holy Spirit. She actually had a name and was Yahweh's wife, and she is known by as Ashira. That is the real name of the Holy Ghost Spirit. So it became a gender war and a power struggle. Abrahamic faith won because it was a numbers game. They had more numbers. So they did things like destroy Solomon's temple, which Solomon's temple, I theorize, symbolized the symbolism of gender harmony. So yeah, it's so you could see how corrupted it got, especially when people in positions of authority got convinced of other areas like phallic worshippers or whoever, how they threw that wedge in there and just ruined the entire original teachings, the correct teachings.
Just warped the heck out of it, didn't they?
It's a lot of generational trauma at this point. Because I mean, anyone that hasn't been living under a rock knows how oppressive certain religions are at the moment.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's not because they're bad people, it's because that's how they were taught, or that trauma got imprinted on them, and by the time they got old enough, they just think it's the way of life. It's normal. It's not normal. They need
just perpetuation of the trauma through each parental.
Go ahead. I see the difference being like the religious institutions, whether they're leaning to the feminine or whether they're leaning to the masculine, always want to say, God's woman, God's man. No, God's a woman. No, God's a man. And it's like God is both. Creator is both. And we're going to see here tonight, when he moves on a little bit further, why that original teaching still holds true for so many of us.
And as I discover this, Thoth is integrating into my timeline, and everything he's observing, he's very mad about it. He's man.
Yeah, he's not real happy.
Not a happy camper, huh?
No, because that means they're even though they're keeping the promise, they're twisting it and corrupting it. It's a problem. The true Rosicrucians and other people in the order are keeping the promise, but he's starting to see how many people are actually getting affected on the false ways, and of course he's mad because he doesn't want to see another Atlantis catastrophe scenario again. So
like I said in the introduction for last week's program, for those who are joining us and watching, and sometimes you watch later at night or the next day, it's best with these types of subjects, we get into it so deep that you just give yourself a little bit of a break, and you let go of preconceived notions and ideas and keep an open mind, because you may have been practicing in a certain faith-based system for years, and they said, this is the way it is. This is truth. But this kind of program allows you to open up your own mind to determine for yourself what rings true to you or not. Not something that's based on a teaching that may or may not have been twisted. It may or may not have been just leaning a certain way because there was a group collective consciousness that thought about it that way.
Yep.
So what Toth is upset about is he and the other angelics or the other energies that we tap into are they don't get upset the way we get upset. They don't get angry in the same way that we get angry. They are deeply concerned and a little bit kind of wondering where some of us are going with this, and it's why they're pushing us to wake up so much and wake others up too. It's because the earth is at a time when it's supposed to be on an ascension path to a new earth, to a new beginning, a new way, and so in order to support earth and its evolution as balanced with and connected to humans and spirit, we need to bring this knowledge to everybody's attention and let them have another piece of information that gives them a bigger picture so that they can make up their minds. We can't tell them what to do or what to think or what to believe, but we can introduce it in this program.
Yep.
And this concept is very deep tonight, and it's either going to resonate with you or it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Another advantage that we have is I am a part of no secret society. So
Right.
I have not made any oaths to keep quiet about it.
Yeah.
And since I have my memories, I can find it without being a part of it because I made it, essentially, in Thoth's lifetime. So and on top of that, since Thoth is sponsoring me, he's their boss. Like,
Yeah.
if you are in the occult in any shape, way, or form, the origins is from him. So if they try to interfere, I mean, they could try, but if they are any good at the occult as they claim to be, they would understand the karma that would go behind that. So, So yes, I am at a great advantage in regards to that.
Right on, Scotty boy.
Mm-hmm.
Toth warned about changing his words. Yep.
Yep.
We're using the teachings to mislead. Absolutely. And I think I personally believe that is what has to be going on. Definitely.
Yep. That's just what happens when time goes on. Everyone wants to make their own version of it, especially if it benefits them. So
To suit their needs.
Yep.
For control and power.
So the this symbol, the cross with the circle. So as you know, the circle represents the all of the cosmic egg reality that the eternal parent made, and then it had the dot, right, which was the beginning of the germinating. These lines represents that it's dividing and multiplying, if that makes sense. It changed from a singularity to now it's having multiple pieces to where it's starting to change into individuality. They also represent the circle and the cross. So to emphasize that this entire reality is both male and female. So the outer circle representing the womb, and then the cross representing everything that's being born inside the womb. No different like a regular baby. And then I like this G.I. Joe's saying, knowing is half the battle. I extend upon that and say an application is the other half. So once you know, apply it. It's one thing to know about it, but you actually have to apply it to get true understanding and embody it to actually make the change happen. So Epoch 2, the Hyperborean age, where the singularity divided, the secret to creation. The Rosicrucian cross within a circle represents Epoch 2, a stage of existence recognized by many traditions. In astrology, fire and air are masculine, earth and water are feminine, with the Star of David symbolizing the union of these elements alongside both divine and profane paths. The Hermetic principle of gender explains creation, emphasizing the balance of masculine and feminine energies, and the importance of understanding this to harness creative powers responsibly. Okay, so here I presented some symbolism that identifies with this whole concept of gender. So in astrology, air and fire, these triangles represent masculine traits. Water and earth, they represent feminine traits. So the symbolism being, if it's an inverted triangle, that represents a womb. A triangle that's not inverted, if it's upright, that represents a phallus. So that's the symbolism for that. So it goes a little bit deeper with other belief systems. is that the Star of David. So you got the Star of David. It puts these triangles on top of each other, which is showing both male and female aspects put together. So
Synchronized.
yeah. So you see these 4 triangles, they represent an element. So that's what these on the side represent: the air, fire, earth, and water. The above one represents the male aspect, and the male aspect, elemental wise, represents light. The female aspect is the opposite, and it represents dark. That is why with pentagrams and pentacles is why when someone sees a pentagram upside down, it's usually associated with dark magic in the occult, while if it's upright in a pentacle shape, it's representing white magic. Hence, because the pentagram is pointing down, so dark, and the pentacle is pointing up, so light. That's how that magic works. So if you come across a pentacle upright, odds are you're good. You come across something like this face down, there are demonic presence in the area you're in.
Interesting. Wow.
And and if you're not Catholic or part of the Jujutsu Society, you need to get out of there.
I told you the other night, I see the Star Trek emblem in the upside correct pentacle. The Star Trek, right in the middle of the pentacle.
Yeah.
I think it's important too to remember that most people associate it with demonic energy. I don't think they really understand the symbolism behind it, which you've just broken down.
And that's because Christianity demonized paganism.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to be the main religion.
Well, now there is something to be said for the fact that there are groups of people that have deliberately taken the symbol, turned it that way, lit candles, and have Satan worship activities, because I've been to them and I've heard them, and I'm like, oh my God.
Well, look at it this way.
So they do take symbols, they do distort them and to their own purposes.
Yeah, well, look at it this way. Christians demonize the pentacle, right? Well, then why is it on the Christmas tree on the very top of it? Because
Christmas to the Christians wasn't originally about Christmas trees, Christmas tree balls, candy canes, and sugar canes and lollipops.
Yep.
It was about the birth of the virgin birth of Christ.
Yep. The majority of
But in order to get people to pay attention and stick with the church and not run off to these little pagan practices, the church implemented a way of bringing it together to merge it to keep people interested.
Yep.
They controlled.
Yep. They demonized the original teachings, stripped all the symbolism and meaning out of it, and put it into their own belief system, and just rebranded it. Same thing.
Well, they cherry picked what they could deal with.
Yeah.
And then blended it into Catholicism or Christianity so that they could get those people. It's like standing on a street corner and holding up a sign. Free car wash at the bank.
Yep.
Free car wash.
Yep.
We're just trying to fish and bring people back to the center of the church to control them, you know?
Yep. Yeah. and it's ironic because they teach people not to use magic, and all their followers are using magic without even realizing it. And it puts them in a freaking very dependent state, and it's not healthy. So I hope that illuminates some of it. I'm not telling people not to be Christian. I'm telling people to wise up so that you can stop getting taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Big difference. Modern science has proved what Atlantis meant by this is true. Sex is manifested in everything. The best teaching of modern science is that there is a stimulating or fertilizing activity in nature which acts upon a generative force, the latter recreating upon the former. The Rosicrucian doctrine claims that male and female forces exist in all things, even inanimate objects like rocks, referring to electrons as ions and labeling them positive and negative before protons were discovered. I would like to note that in the book, if you're going to read it, because I am quoting it quite a lot because that is the best material that I found to talk about Rosicrucians. On this part, they refer to protons and electrons as both electrons, and that's because they did not make a name for proton until 1920, and the book came out in 1918. So if you find that discrepancy, that was why. Modern science identifies the positive and negative poles of an atom. So that's what that represents with the atom. To avoid the confusion even further, experts in the field prefer calling the negative side the cathode, a Greek term meaning descent or generation, because the negative, by definition, has a bad definition that would go along with it. It's like weak or unreality, which is not what this represents. Cathodes are a force that sucks up everything in to create something new and then spits it out, which we'll talk about a little bit in the next slide.
I think it's interesting to note that, and I noted this when we were talking the other day about this, cathode and Catholic derives from the same word. So that's very interesting to me.
Yeah.
It's making the correlation.
Yeah, I'll have to look up the prefix sometimes to see why.
Yeah.
Okay. A master key on being able to form matter however you wish. So recently, black holes have been observed ejecting material they once absorbed, similar to cathodes producing parts to form atoms, which symbolize the union of male and female. Galaxies form from such black hole activity, creating cycles like day and night. So everyone knows what a black hole does. It sucks everything in, and we just thought it disappeared or whatever. Well, apparently it doesn't disappear. Apparently, once whatever space it has gets to its max, it'll spew out everything else out, exactly like a cathode.
So it pulls it in and then expels it.
Yep, it throws it back up.
Huh.
Yep. So however it transmuted the matter in when it was inside and it spits it back up, it'll create something completely new. And that's how each epoch comes back.
That's right.
It's how the paradox forms. So the cathode represents a maternal force capable of creating new matter and challenging old scientific ideas. So yes, so that's one of the reasons why the female concept is considered illogical, not because the female gender is stupid, but because it literally defies logic with its creation. So if someone like me says the feminine aspect is illogical and more emotional, it's not an insult. I promise. I've triggered some people for saying that, but it's not represented as an insult. The book further explores how ions interact, combining and separating atoms, reflecting chemistry and the essence of alchemy in scientific terms. So apparently, parts of the electrons and protons, you can either subtract one from an atom. You can not only subtract one, but you can also add to a new atom, or you can split an atom and then put those pieces on two new atoms. It creates a bunch of different things, and this is the esoteric occult way of talking about chemistry, which is alchemy.
Yeah. Pure and simple.
Yep. So I find that very interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah, that they had it down at a scientific level to an atom way before modern science even knew what an atom was.
So even the atom has a positive and a negative energy that comes together, just as the soul has the positive and negative, masculine, feminine.
Yep. The cathodes and the protons are the microcosm of what dark holes and supernovas represent at a macrocosm level. They're the same thing, just different in size. And it's how life keeps on going over
it's creation.
And over again.
Yep. As John Paul says, yes, you're right.
Yep.
Yep. But people don't typically think of creation as, well, I'm not going to say it because you're going to get to it in the next slide.
Right.
Hold that thought.
All right, Larry, let's go to it. So how sex is a law of creation, secret Rosicrucian / hermetic law of attraction. Creation requires a combination of opposites as seen in animals and plants. Science now recognizes this also occurs in minerals through crystallization, showing the law of attraction applies to inorganic matter. The law of attraction in sexual activity extends beyond the physical to spiritual and mental levels, influencing creation and dimensions. So this introduces the concept of unity and multiplicity, which is what this whole second epoch represents. the multiplication from the one into the many. So it's on a physical plane because, you know, the positive aspect of life and the negative aspect of life conjoins and create something new from each other. This also happens on a spiritual and mental level. To have creation, you need to have a thought of it. So on the mental aspect, that's already there. The mental makes those two concepts into reality. And then on the spiritual side of things, it does the same thing.
Yeah.
Because that's which was represents how the Polarian epoch formed into the Hyperborean epoch, into the Lemurian, and so on and so on. So I liked this picture a lot because it represents it in a rock form with this cathedral. I could see it as symbolic for this being the egg, and then it being crystallized on the inside as the yolk of the egg. So I like showing the actual, like, there's proof that
And
sex
physicality.
yeah, and there's going to be more on that in the next slides.
Okay.
There are many societies, and I read about one today, and we'll talk about it later, but they've adopted the same understanding the Dogon had and others way before modern man, that all matter is created through this creation process, whether it's inert or not, whether it's a mineral, a plant, or a human, or an animal. It's all has the same internal properties. It's all the same. We just perceive everything as being different, and they still procreate. They still reproduce. So that just as this crystal is reproducing it and creating multiple versions or multiple facets of itself. So even though it doesn't walk around like an animal or crossbreed with other pollens like a plant, it's still growing from within and it's still creating other crystals.
Yep.
That when they break off, mineralize and become independent.
Yep. And
so they're from the same wholeness, but yet they're independent. They're various flavors of the same crystal.
Yep. And that's the whole premise of the second epoch, where everything started dividing to multiply.
Yeah.
So it happens in everything. It happens in plants, happens in animals, happens in humans, happens in...
It's the way the universe works.
Yep. It is a...
So basically what the Rosicrucians are saying, it's all about sex, people.
Yeah. Why do you think...
Sex is going on everywhere around us, both in the etheric and in the physical.
Why do you think people in high status is always trying to capitalize on it? They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They've come to the conclusion.
Well, at least from a spiritual ascension, higher mind perspective, it's the good parts of sex. It's sacred sex.
Yep.
But that's how our whole reality is created, is through sexual exchange of energy.
Yep. It's
right?
just gone. Yep. It's just attention's important. Attention's really important when you're going about it, because it can make or break the entire situation. Which, if I remember right, one of these slides goes into it a little bit. So, unless it was one of the older slides. Yeah, I think it was one of the older slides.
And you were pointing out the egg in that crystal. You thought that kind of looked like an egg.
Yeah, I thought that was a good representation on showing how crystals do it. That the act of crystallization is sex. Some science people will look at me like, this guy's ridiculous. He's insane. But no, there's also a lot of scientists that would agree with me.
Oh yeah, that's what they've come to conclude themselves now.
Yep. And I got some examples for that, and even more examples in the book if you read it. But yeah, well, yeah, let's continue. Okay. So in the fourth aphorism, this is the next part in part 5, the one in the mini, as we were discussing. The fourth aphorism states, the one becomes many. The unity becomes diversity. The identical becomes variety. Yet the many remains one. The diversity remains unity, and the variety remains identical. In the fourth aphorism, the Rosicrucian is directed to apply his attention to the fact that the world soul created by the eternal parent as a one manifesting into many, a unity manifesting into diversity, and identical manifesting as variety. During this form of creation, the singularity starts to turn into even more pieces. The outer circle represents the infinite manifested from this world's soul. This symbol is to teach that even through our individuality and diversity, we are all part of the same whole. This is why they teach that each individual is just a mirror of yourself in certain Eastern traditions. So yes, in this symbol here, you see the universal creation that the eternal parent made, and then now the dot and the cross has turned into something different inside it all, which is representing all those little dots right there. It's showing each individuality that's being created. And that's how you get like so many humans, for example, like me, Teresa, Laurie, Jasmine, Sophia, Brian, etc. We're all different people, but at the end of the day, we're all part of the same whole. And that goes with all life.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That's the oneness.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why Rosicrucians doubled down so hard on explaining why things like rocks and metal are also alive, because it's important to acknowledge that, because that's also a part of yourself. So
we're all made up of those the minerals. We're all made up of the same material.
Yep.
Physically and etherically.
Yep. So yeah, I think that's a good thing to realize, because I feel like once people realize that, they start accepting the world more. It gives them a perspective of where me hurting you is just hurting myself. And that can cause a lot of healing and a lot of paradigm shifts that are for the better.
Absolutely.
The one and the many, and its connections to ether. The idea of unity within multiplicity is central to many esoteric teachings, not just Rosicrucianism. The same truth in another form is presented by modern science in its conception of the universal substance. That's what the eggheads call this phenomenon. There are many names for this hidden resource that all things come from. You got quintessence, you got ether, or spelled it either as an AE or an E, the fifth element, etc. The fact remains that science postulates its existence as a fundamental something, in which all forms of physical existence are but manifestations. Philosophy claims all forms are made from the universal mind. Brahmanical, the teachings of Brahma, they say many exist through the dream or meditation of the Lord High Brahma. With my personal memory reintegration, I have also seen how Thoth is a master at dream walking, making me believe he has far surpassed this test we are all currently taking. Essentially, he has given me exposure to how I can master it for myself, along with how I can teach it to others. Working with him has been altering time itself, as he has been learning from my experiences and vice versa, as I've explained a little bit earlier. To find ways on how to heal the concept of heaven, hell, and everything in between. To do something like I explained with how me and Thoth, even though we're in different time spaces, we're still communicating. To do this is how you tap into this fifth element that connects and manifests everything. So if you are a medium of any level, that is you tapping in and using ether. That's what ether really is.
Yeah.
And anyone can tap into it.
That's right.
It's no different than in like a video game when someone's using mana to cast a spell. Mana is ether. Mana is another name for it. It is a resource that they keep safeguarded and hidden because they don't like people tapping into it, because it gives them dominance over the ones who can't do it. When it's a birthright for everyone, everyone can do it. Doesn't matter how much of a cretin you are, you can do it and change yourself. So
Yeah, because we are all sovereign beings.
Yeah.
Physical or not, we're sovereign.
yeah, throughout my experience of teaching people, I've met a lot of people that feel like they're not worthy for it because of past traumas or past actions they've created, given trauma to someone
The
else.
story they tell themselves.
Yep, it's not true. You can change on a dime.
Yep.
As long as you decide to become better.
Agreed.
That's right.
Everyone is a part
That's
of God.
right.
Everyone is
Yes.
part of God. Even the lower negative entities, they are also part of God. They just like to deny it.
Yeah.
But as soon as they stop denying it, they tap into it just like anyone else, like on the higher realms. So
Yeah.
it's really important to understand this because I feel like this is an important fundamental that will give people inspiration on increasing their frequencies to a higher plane of existence, which is necessary.
Absolutely.
It's extremely necessary for the evolution of man.
Well, we've kept it quiet long enough, practiced behind closed doors and in basements and you name it.
Yep.
Because of the persecution and because the others have an alternative agenda. Therein lies conspiracy.
Yep.
Not within the secret societies themselves that are holding the knowledge.
Yep.
You don't need a conspiracy theory to know universal truth and love and connection with source of any kind. I don't care how you name it or call it. And that's what this is. This is showing you how you connect with that which is within the oneness and the universal principles behind it. And individual orders have their own way and unique way of practicing them, but they have a slight spin on each way. But to me, it rings true. And the reason they haven't been able to come out in the open with it as much as they would like to make it as public as you are now, Nick, is because they were in fear of doing it. But we have to release that fear and share as much as we can in hopes that it will touch hearts and minds and help them. That's what we're here for. We're here to help ourselves, yes, and grow and expand, but we're also here. A lot of us came here during this time for this purpose, to help bolster humanity and we're remembering, we're bringing that truth to light. And I think the Rosicrucians have the purest form of it, from what I've seen so far.
On the Western side.
There are many others.
On the Western side, yes, correct.
On the Western side. And I'm going to talk later tonight about one group in particular that's still holding on to it that's going to surprise people. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I don't even know how to make that better.
One for all and all for one.
Yeah, that's very important. So. Involution, the thing that precedes evolution.
That's what I was holding on to.
The term involve has an archaic definition related to enveloping, enfolding, or surrounding, often with a sense of encumbrance or entanglement. Also, in an archaic context, evolve primarily means to unfold, open, or expand. It can also imply gradually developing or working out something. So, there's a reason why this is important. This concept is how the Rosicrucians teach the manner of how the one became the many. Most science that pursues evolution often ignores its twin, involution. The occult, however, does not. It claims you can never get out of anything which is not already involved with it. This small phrase alone holds a vast library of an important occult lore. Keeping the archaic definitions of these words alive is extremely important. Rosicrucians emphasize, no matter how convoluted new terms make this out to be, always focus on the simple one that is at the true root. It's no different on why secret societies are secret to begin with. It's not because they're trying to hide something to hurt you. Majority of the time, it's because they're hiding knowledge that people in this current stage cannot handle. They will literally go crazy, or not even know what to do with it, call it blasphemy, and start burning it.
Yeah, discredit it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's not how you keep the flame alive. You got to keep it alive. So what do? You got to hold on to it until the populace is ready. The fact that Thoth is letting me talk about this out in the open, with
Mm-hmm.
no societies under my belt in this life,
Yep.
is
The
is very
freedom to
yep,
express it.
yep.
Yes.
It's very symbolic for me that it is starting to get to that point where yes, we're ready. We can talk
Yeah.
about this stuff out loud.
Yep.
In a public setting. So, at a metaphysical level, this is speaking something plainly. If you want to level up or you desire more, you have to go within first. If someone is more advanced in life than you and you have a problem with that, you have no one to blame but yourself, for they have done inner work, also known as what we called involution, and obtaining the evolution through that success, while you are continuing to run away from facing yourself. So while you're running away, not doing the work within, they're going within and they're getting something out of it. I have a few close friends of mine that have gone, Nick, you've changed, and they've gotten really envious of it. And it's because I put in the work. They shouldn't be envious about it. They should be doing their work.
Yeah. Right on, Scotty.
Yep. Find
Becomes over-processing, Scotty, over-processing.
So the axiom, find the answers within, it's not a hippie cop-out. Your excuses to disregard this truth is, if you're in a secret society, or any organization for that matter, to just copy-paste the spoils of others to fuel your twisted desires, you are no better than a parasite. You may learn anything, but if you can't embody it, you are a dog chasing its own tail. The best things in life aren't given, they are earned. This is how you can differentiate members that are actually following the teachings versus the ones who are corrupted and are just leeching off of people or trying to take advantage of them, etc. You know, turning the whole concept of protecting the flame on a secret society more into a I'm going to do mess up things and hide behind those rules so you can't find out who I am while I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, it's important to realize this. You have to be able to discern people's actions, not what they're saying. It's so important.
Yeah, I think we were talking about this the other night, and you have to have, I hate to use the words you must have, but I know from my own experience and from being close to others whom I've observed this in as well, one needs a very strong desire to know more of this and to really want that transformation and to really want that connection.
Mm-hmm.
Really want to change the world, really want to change within, really want to help others. It has to come from a level of sincere desire, from a sincere willingness to serve, to not just for self-gratification and not just so you look really cool and spiritual in front of other people.
Funny enough, that's why a lot of Freemasons don't really get up to the higher ranks, because they're not there.
That's right.
They're really there to learn and embody all of those teachings that they encompass. All they're there is for the free food, the advantages of getting in.
Yeah, a lot of these organizations are not set up for spiritual. What happened is they set up the network because they needed the people to build a network.
Yep.
They built followers.
Yep.
And they initiated them into certain things that they do for society and service and to one another as a social organization more than anything else.
That's what.
And as they got to know one another, and as they got to see how these people changed or evolved, or who's willing to do the work, who is the type out of all these people in this room, which one of these guys can we bring into an initiation to get them into understanding and getting to the next level on the spiritual. So that's why when you go through the ranks, by the time you go through their grades, and they all have different grades, they all mean something different, but they're all on similar lines. They're letting you transform yourself internally first. Mm-hmm. You're going from a me, I to let's serve. Mm-hmm. And then once recognizing the togetherness and unity and the importance, once you get to a certain level, then they start introducing these spiritual concepts and ideas and practices. They don't throw it on you when you're a junior initiate.
Yep.
Because they don't even know if you're really into it. Which goes back to what I was saying. If you don't have a sincere desire and craving to want to do this for yourself, which is part of self-love,
Yep.
Yes.
it's part of your own growth,
Mm-hmm.
then you're just doing what I just said. You're doing it on a surface level and going from chat room to chat room to chat room. And I can tell when somebody's doing that. It's not because I'm judging them, but just because it's blatantly obvious. They agree with everything the show hosts say in this chat room on a spiritual principle. Yeah, exactly. Yes, yes. And they'll talk about it. But then 2 hours later, you'll see them in another chat room on another channel. Oh, that's a bunch of crap. No. Because everybody in there is saying it's a bunch of crap. So they want to fit in or they want to look cool. I don't know what it is, but they're undecisive. So all I'm saying, and I'm not judging them, I look at them and I go, that tells me where they are on their spiritual plane. So if anything, I love them because they're at least trying to express themselves. And I would say to them, if you're really serious about this, you'll know when the timing is right for you to just stick with one or two programs that really feed you with the like-minded people in it that really give you that information so that to help you make up your own mind. And you'll stop floating around to all these chat rooms and trying to grab these spiritual concepts and then talk about them without even understanding them. Because what you do when you do that is you talk yourself out of it, which is a form of resistance. That builds a block to learning and understanding. So you're keeping an open mind about everything, right? You think you are, but you're just not landing on anything. You're not hitting the bullseye. You're not hitting the target. Yep. The target is you, your own heart.
Yep.
So you're shortchanging yourself.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying.
And because there are so many people still like that, that's the whole reason why it is secret to begin with, and why it is encased in riddles and et cetera, et cetera. Because if you know anything about the occult, like anything, you understand that mindset is extremely important. If you start messing with some real magic and you're acting like someone like Teresa was explaining, you are in a negative frequency. You're your radio is going to pick up on demons, and I see it all the time. People do black magic. They get some knowledge and they think they can start taking advantage of it, not realizing that puts them into the fair game category. And then the next thing you know, they're getting thrown around in a room with nothing there, or they're getting scratch marks that a human hand can't make, or they start hearing sounds that no human can make, or they start seeing things that is not human at all. Like that. I could rant about all the stories I know about it.
It's true.
And it's
you attract the energy because you're on the same level.
Yep.
In a sense.
Excuse me.
Yep, it's a dangerous game, and you have to do the involution to be able to do it correctly.
Yeah.
And it's not just to protect you; it's also to protect the people around you. I've had to cut out a lot of people because they just weren't getting it, and I was indirectly getting attacked by the things they were attracting. I don't want to deal with that every day. I'm good at smiting, but I don't want to do that every day. That
can be exhausting, right?
It can get very exhausting. How can I be just chilling at home all day and I'm exhausted? Well, it's not because I haven't been doing any physical work. It's because I'm smiting things on a spiritual and mental plane. So, threefold in nature, we have different bodies all put together. So yeah, they're getting a workout. So yeah, stuff like that's important. It's very important.
Yep, agreed.
Okay, let's see. Next slide.
I'm having such trouble typing.
Nah, it's just the way that Jasmine set it up. Instead of clicking it, I can just press the arrow keys. And I'm not the most techie person. I'm kind of a boomer, to be honest, when it comes to it. So I'm always like,
she's stuck in presentation mode. So I know what she's doing.
Yeah. Yes. What do they say? Behind a great man, there's always a great woman.
This is true,
Yeah, I agree with it. Oh no, what happened to it?
as you were saying.
Well, now you can't. Now, as you've gotten into the Rosicrucian teachings, you can't help but say that.
All right. Why'd the screen go black?
Did it go dark on you?
It's dark on the I can see it on my screen, but it's dark on the live.
Yeah.
Like how it was
Why?
earlier.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
no.
just disappeared.
Oh, did it? Because I've still
Yep.
got it on mine. I can still see it.
I don't see it on mine either. Chat, do you guys see that? Or did the
Oh, there's a
screen go black?
delay. There it goes.
No, it's black.
So it's a delay. Yeah.
No, it's black. I can
Yeah.
see it.
No, I
on
mean
my
it
phone.
just went black on mine.
Oh,
Yeah,
you have a
There's
delay.
Yeah. All right. So
Maybe I can
let's
reset it.
yeah, remove it and then reload it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what do you all think about a contractor saying he's seeing someone? I really debate over hitting send. What? I'm not with you, lady. Don't get you. I have no problem being behind a great woman.
Where's your great woman right now?
Yeah. That's right.
Okay,
It's
he's
so
got
good to
it.
see
He's
everybody.
got it.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
messed up.
Wins
It messed
the
up
fight.
the setting though. Let's see if I can fix it.
I love this graphic you picked for this.
Oh, me too. I like it a lot. All right. So
Okay.
the third epoch, the Lemurian age, where spirit turned into clay. So the one and the many, ether, involution, and evolution, are the building blocks for starting of the great fall. That if you're into spirituality, you know, the great fall is when all the spirits fell down to earth and turned into matter. Not they do it symbolically with angels too, but it's not just angels, it's everything. It's where the start of higher vibrational energy started plunging to the abyss of manifested material garments of the densest and grossest elemental matter. This extreme form of elemental matter is not known to us today, as it has been discarded through this planet's evolution. It does, however, still exist on other planets. They claim this matter is extremely dense, the category being lower even than minerals and metals. So dense that it's a waste of time trying to describe it, as our minds can't comprehend it without illustration. So when they were talking about this, my intuition went, oh, this is dark matter. They're talking about dark matter. For as prejudiced as they sound about it in the book, it was still a cornerstone that had to be used to see everything that we do now today. That involution is needed to acquire the evolution. This dense matter went to stones. Then stones went to this thing called chlomancia, which is a hybrid between plant and stone. Then it went into plants. Then plants evolved into another hybrid of plants and animals called angiospores. Then those angiospores went into animals. Then the animals went into a hybrid stage between animal and human called gymnospores, to finally current humans. And then eventually something above current humans, and so on, showing the ascension process at a physical level. For one to say we aren't close to rocks or plants, I ask you to think on what our bodies actually do and are made of. If we aren't part of the rocks, why do we need things like salt or iron? If we aren't plant-like, then how come we photosynthesize, otherwise known as what science calls sun synthesis, with the sun to make vitamin D? Why do we need water, etc.? With this in mind, along with the one and the many, it sounds a lot less crazy to be able to talk to trees and rocks, which any student in occult who practices it can claim they have. So I actually have a cool little short story about that. Actually, when we were on our road trip going through California, we stopped at the sequoias, the red sequoia national forest.
Yep.
When we were there, this is when I tapped in to both rocks and trees. I found this giant stump. It was huge. I couldn't imagine what the tree would have looked like back in the day. But even the stump itself, it was talking. I put my hands on it, and then it just started talking, not talking in the literal sense of like how me or you talks, but
Communicating
they're having some
energy.
type of frequency communication going on, and I could understand it, which was wild. And then as soon as I let off of it, I could start understanding all the plants around me. And then the next thing I know, I'm tapping into the rocks around me too. And then Jasmine, you know, she's an innate generator. She's just talented. She hasn't been in the occult as long as I have, but she's just pure talent. So I was comparing. I'm like, is this rock saying this? This is what I'm getting. They should be like, yeah. And so like, yeah, we just got tapped in. We were connected with the forest. I thought that was a crazy cool experience, and it gave me a lot of confirmation on what this site is talking about.
So in a sense, what you did is you tapped into the mycelium, which is the connection between all the plants.
Mm-hmm.
So you literally, on a energetic level, just by touching the stump, connected to the energy, and then you were in with everything that was going on around the stump.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Yeah, and that stump must have been the root network must have been pretty big because it was a pretty wide area.
Yeah,
probably that's how they communicate.
Yeah,
yes,
and the fact that it was still alive, in my opinion.
Yes.
You know,
here's a scientific data point to back this up, Nick.
Okay.
Humans share varying percentages of their genes with different plant species, with figures often cited for specific organisms like bananas. 50 to 60% of our DNA can be found in bananas. Or Arabidopsis, around 19% of protein coding genes. 19% of protein coding genes are found in plant life.
Oh, wow.
These shared genes often code for fundamental cellular processes and proteins, reflecting a common ancestor for all of life on Earth, and highlighting that humans and plants are not entirely dissimilar at a molecular level. So for the outward physical manifestation of a thought form, and on an etheric level, we're related because we're all one. Makes total sense to me that when we created all aspects of life, all life forms, all in the material, that in a physical sense, they would be related to through the DNA and other
etheric mycelium as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So within, so without, as above, so below.
Exactly.
Isn't that where this concept comes from?
Absolutely.
And that's where these primordial deities in Greek mythology come from. So in if anyone knows about Greek mythology, Ether and Cerberus are primordial deities, which are basically deities that were before the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The light and the dark.
Yeah, Ether represents the ether, like the energy before the great fall. Well, Erebus represents the counter opposite, which is the darkness, the dark matter, the density that had to fall. And then, you know, the epoch to represent, and then the involution and evolution, all that stuff. It's showing you the connections of the process on, even though they're on totally different spectrums, they're still the part of the same coin. That's important because that goes into.
Let me ask you this then. What's the difference then between the plant and mineral or rock? How come we don't share anything in common with a rock? But yet we just said that certain types of rocks are more like crystals and they can form and through the sexual exchange expand and grow and create new crystals off of their points. But we have 0% on a physical level. Rocks are completely inert.
Well, yeah, but we still have properties within our body that are rock related. Like
our bodies are carbon.
Yeah, our
rocks
bodies
are mineral. We're the same.
Well, we have things like copper, silver, gold. We have different iron.
Same chemical makeup. Yeah.
We need iron in our blood. If we don't have iron in our blood, our body will not be able to function correctly. So that's the metal aspect. And then
some rocks have those, right? Some rocks have those metals. Yeah. Some rocks have those minerals. But we don't have human DNA. We don't have any commonality. They haven't found any in rocks. We're genetically related to plants and animals, but not rocks. And yet rocks are conscious. And rocks tend to break off of other pieces, but they don't necessarily have sex.
Well, the way they explain it, rocks do have sex. It's just in the form of what we call crystallization. They're still performing sex. It's just a different way to go about it. That like we would
Okay.
go about it. It's just a different
Not the
stage.
literal, not
Yeah.
the literal meaning
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
More metaphoric
Yeah, it's still having that feminine and masculine
reaction.
reaction that conjoins.
Yep.
So that's how it's connected.
Yes.
You could take a crystal. People have done this. I think Mandy Moo is one of them from Australia. Haven't seen her in a while, but I think she's done this. You could take a crystal. You could bury it under the sand for a long time. And periodically take it out and measure it, and it has grown.
Oh yeah.
It's evolving.
You can buy starter kits. I learned how to grow crystals when I was first getting into alchemy. My first teacher Scott showed me that you can literally buy crystal kits. It'll start out like small, but then as you use it, it'll grow.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
But I have a rock that I planted in my backyard 21 years ago. And that rock is the same shape, size, weight, mass. It hasn't eroded. It's just there, and it's the same, and it hasn't changed at all in 21 years. I'm not saying it won't eventually. Maybe it just takes rocks a little bit longer to do the Hoodio Do.
Well, you could go into basic science on explaining that. So the different forms of matter, the solids, liquids, and gases. Well, you apply the concept of hermetic principle of vibration to that. Gases, the atoms are looser, so they're more all over the place. They're not as compact. Water, it gets a little bit more compact, but still more fluid. Then once you go into solids, that's when they're like really tight together. So it's more energy condensed into each other. I personally feel like that's why it lasts longer, to keep its form, because its structure is made that way to be more solid.
How about this? I just wonder if, because it's so dense, it represents a denser version of them where we want to be. So therefore, we're not giving it our power. We're not giving it our attributes. When we created it, we knew it would be an after material, a byproduct of creation, and that it's not meant to evolve the same way crystals are, or plants, or the animals, or the insects, or the humans, because it represents such density that we would never get out of it. Or if we put our soul in that kind of a container or had that kind of an experience with it, we might be.
It's going to be a very long existence, a very long and slow existence.
Yeah, you would be skipping steps in the process.
Yeah.
So that's why, since it's like putting a saltwater fish in pure water. It's not going to.
Yeah.
The environment doesn't suit it. That's why it gradually over time evolved into different states of matter. Went from dark matter to rocks to plants to people, or to animals to people, and so on. So that's why that process is there. Dark matter is as important as ether. It's a different part of the evolution process. So
okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yep. And we'll go over that a little bit. That's what the flame of life and the one in the many represents, is that it's all important. It's all together. It's all necessary. So.
And you as a soul have experienced it all at one time or another.
At one point, yep. Yep. If you really go into your past lives, you might remember yourself being a rock.
Yeah,
I do.
And I know that's hard to fathom, but it's true.
Yep.
I started out as a rock. That's the first thing. Well, water and then rock. I started out as a rock. I remember it.
Were you ever a pet rock?
I'm not even going to go there.
Nice, Teresa.
After the show. No, I do remember being a rock, and I remember just sitting there staring at this whole group of beautiful plants and flowers all the time, watching the bugs jump off and on them. And I communicated. I communicated with plant life. Rocks and crystals and plants do communicate with one another all the time.
Yeah.
But I do remember being a rock. But that's all I remember. I don't remember the spiritual explanation for any of this. I was just curious as to
You were
why.
just experiencing another aspect of life.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
mushrooms are another good proof
Mhm.
behind that, because they literally act like a hive mind,
Yes.
and they're a
Yes.
plant.
Mhm.
So actually, no, I don't think they're considered plant. I think current science, they don't have a category for it because they're so stuck on what it actually is.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. But I'm going to call it a plant. It's probably a hybrid, to be honest, because of how it behaves. It's probably the hybrid of plants and animals. But that's my guess.
Well, if Lucky Stone's in the chat room, maybe he could answer it because he does a lot of that looking up nature walk and connections nature. He might know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Huh.
Something to think about for sure.
Okay.
All right, so the final thoughts of part 5. Always remember that with these millions upon millions of individuality, that there is no real separateness. Even in present day, evolution is still occurring from the foundation of involution. Higher and higher forms of expression will continue to manifest through this involved being of the world soul, which is ever striving and struggling itself in self-expression. The Lemurian Age was the first age of where humans and other garments of matter started participating in this planet. The human aspect in which started to reveal how this clock, that is the world egg, ticks. To hurt something is to hurt yourself, even if you find it insignificant like a mosquito. This realization is important for the ascension process. Now for part 6, which I believe is the last part for tonight.
Okay.
The flame?
Yep. Part 6, the universal flame of life. In the 5th aphorism, it states that the one is the flame of life. The many are the sparks in the flame. The flame once lighted kindles everything within its sphere. The fire is in everything and everywhere. There is nothing dark or cold within its sphere. The Rosicrucian is now directed to apply their attention to the concept of universal life and how it is permeating everywhere within its existence. When we use the term spirit, this is the symbol that represents it in every occult practice. The flame stays the same. It kindles, sparks, and combusts them. This represents the reconstruction and deconstruction of life, along with the flame itself is the being that manifests this chain reaction. Modern science claims something either has life or is lifeless, but the occult teachings claim that everything is alive, as we have been discussing. However, men of advanced science are starting to agree with the occult. And in the Rosicrucian doctrine, this is the symbol that they use for the flame of life. It's within the circle, and the fires are going, representing that everything in this existence.
It says to me violet flame, which the violet flame is the love energy of the universe.
Yep, that's another name for it.
Mm-hmm. I think Saint Germain coined that one, the violet flame.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, where there is mind must be life. So since everything here in this reality is both organic and inorganic, was created by the mind, that means it is a part of the universal flame, which implies in their own way every form of matter is alive, even dark matter, for as dense and grotesque as it is, it's also under that jurisdiction. Haeckel, in his riddle of the universe, goes in depth at a scientific point on what the occultists already teach, essentially bringing up there must be some form of life unity within everything, since everything can have the same or similar molecules to some capacity, as an example. So the next few slides, we will discuss some of these experiments and discovery modern science has unlocked, solidifying the fact of what the occult has been teaching for all these years.
Mm. Yep.
So
Here we go.
Yeah. So to start off with, we're going to talk about diatoms. So science has created the counterparts of the diatoms, like actual diatoms, which is also known as living crystals, artificially in laboratories. They have made something themselves that nature has already. It could be seen as a link between mineral and the animal forms. These unicellular organisms we call diatoms are tiny geometrical forms composed of a shell made out of transparent opaline silica, enclosing a minute drop of plasma that science has determined is algae. They can be seen under a microscope and are very hard to differentiate from actual crystals, and yet they are alive, performing the functions of life. So I think this is really cool, having physical representations of what they were already talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And that modern
Well,
science.
the question is that I asked the other night when we were going over this is this modern humans' way for those who don't want to go down the spiritual ascension path, but yet still want to leave the physical body, but are trying to find a way to do it artificially by remembering how we create and using the same principles of natural universal creation to do it in a lab grown way. It's like transhumanism 101.
Yep.
So, I mean, on one hand, it's pretty exciting and pretty cool. And on the other hand, it's like, wait a minute. Isn't this what we already did in Atlantis once?
Oh yeah, that's happened to me a few times.
And didn't we tamper with the configuration of these geometric shapes to come up with the various different human forms to evolve ourselves? And so now here we are in this fifth cycle of evolution on our ascension path as a planet. And once again, the universe, there's fractals of or fractions of the universal consciousness that's out there doing this stuff.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem with Atlantis is that like doing this stuff isn't inherently bad, but they were going about it in a bad way. So I brought it up before in the fact that what Atlantis was doing is they got to a point where they could create humans artificially. They called them the Et Namu, which is the backwards way of saying the human in our language, but it's technically the correct way to say it because our language is backwards, but that's a whole other rabbit hole. So they use these vessels to invoke spirits inside of them so these negative entities could manipulate in this realm. Participate in this realm. And I don't have to go into detail on why that is extremely dangerous. You got all these demons running in human bodies around doing whatever they want to whoever they want with the degree of Atlantean tech that they had. It caused a lot of problems, and that's why we ended up nuking the entire continent.
Yep, gives them a foothold.
Yep, it's the whole reason why back then we literally just nuked everything. We're like, it's too late, gotta nuke it, and that's why it sunk. That's the core reason. We detonated all of the what modern science would call reactors. Their way of doing it was way better energy wise, way better than nuclear, but the boom was stronger than a regular nuclear plant. Hence why it went under the seas. So I remember all this. Thoth was specifically the last Atlantean king because he was chosen to guide the survivors out of it. He was picked, and working with Thoth, some reason he had a lot of guilt about it. Like he felt like he felt like he could have outsmarted it and prevented it from getting to the
Yeah.
degree that it did, but it didn't. And yeah, it's a lot that he's been healing, and he's been able to heal with me, realizing that no, it wasn't his fault. It was predetermined because Source demanded it. No, it wouldn't have mattered how smart or clever he was. It was meant to happen because it had to be a reminder to show people this is what happens when you do it the wrong way. So
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, some heavy stuff. All right, another example that everything is living is the fatigue of elasticity and the mineral metal matter getting sick. So science has found that with a rest period, metals can actually restore their original forms like razors. As soon as I heard about this, I was like, well, no wonder my razors are never going dull. I don't have that much facial hair, so I'm not using it every single day. So the fact that I give it a rest period that's long enough, whatever's making it dull from the first shave, it's actually regenerating, going back into its original form. It's no different than how when we get a cut and our body heals it. It's literally the same concept. Metal just does it differently because it's in a different form of existence.
That's fascinating.
This is also where the superstition of users of razors come from. If anyone knows about that, that's interesting to know. Another cool thing that I found was overuse of tuning forks can actually lose their power of vibration. So if you're a medium and you're using tuning forks during your sessions, but it's a really busy day and you're constantly ding, 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 I would recommend getting at least 2 pairs and keeping them on you at all times. So that way you can switch them out to give them that little rest period so they can reset their vibrational powers. So they can actually help everyone instead of just helping the people that come in first, while not helping people as much when they come in on the end. So that's good to know. I'm pretty sure a lot of people were like, ding, when it comes to that. So another example is machinery and factories are found to benefit from the occasional day off. Some metals have been subjected to disease and infection on top of it. Rust being a prime example that a lot of people know about. Rust is actually an infection or a disease. If you have healthy metal, it'll never rust. Sometimes they're even poisoned. And not only can they get poisoned, but you can also give them an antidote for the poison. No different with how we interact with the human body, plants, animals, etc. Glass is another example, especially stained glass. They can end up with diseases, resulting in it spreading it from pain to pain, deteriorating all of it over time. If you know how to restore that using the right cure, things like stained glass can last for a very long time. And I mean, the proof of that is some of these old churches that are hundreds of years. They still got stained glass and it looks brand new. They know what they're doing. They have this knowledge in their libraries. Whether it's public or not is for debate, but they know all about this type of stuff. So yeah, it's very interesting to think about.
It is fascinating. Yeah.
It's just mind-blowing. And the thing is that one wonders if, well, Laurie talks to her car and has a huge conversation, touches it, rubs it, gives it love and affection. I go out and maybe tap mine and go, don't let me down. Or I'll say, you're a great car. Thank you for getting me here safely.
Oh, yeah,
that's about as far as I go. I do
I
not
show
hug
favor.
my car like I hug a tree, but it's according to this.
I do. Absolutely. Yes, I do. I love my car.
I'm going to take a photo of you doing that someday.
It's the truth. I show it favor all the time.
Yeah,
I tell it how beautiful it is. I tell it how much I love it. Absolutely.
I give Jasmine's car a head pats all the time.
Yep.
All the time, saying good job.
Well, I got to ask the question, Nick. They can feel pain physically. In other words, they can get sick. They can get a disease. So what about mentally? If they're sentient and they have thought like we do, can they get mentally sick?
I wouldn't see why not.
I think it's the same thing as when you talk to a plant. You show favor to a plant or you send the plant love and it flourishes. anything that you put positive energy into is going to be receptive to the positive energy. If you put negative into it, it's going to be receptive to the negative energy.
Mm-hmm.
The best
Mm-hmm.
example I can think of for that is when someone's programming crystals.
Uh-huh.
So if you're programming it on a negative intent, I've seen crystals eventually snap or break. Or if they absorb too much negative energy when you're using something like selenite or a pure quartz to do that, I'll also see it break if you don't cleanse it.
Mm-hmm.
Versus if you put a positive aspect on it, it'll generate for however long you want it to generate. So that's how I can see the difference for that.
We were talking about the movie Christine, where the guy's car takes over.
Mm-hmm.
And then also there was one on Star Trek Voyager episode where Tom Paris was taken over by the autopilot program within a ship he was restoring. There goes my electricity. I don't know how long I'll be able to. We've been having electrical problems here all day today. So I don't know if my power will come back on, but I'll run as long as I can, Laurie.
Okay.
But anyway, it was kind of like that, like it's almost like a level of possession. So if you program negativity into anything in your environment, I've learned in this house, the house has a spirit.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah. You can invoke.
And when I transformed this house, the spirit changed.
Yeah.
Okay, the
showed
energy
you showed it
changed.
positive energy.
So if you guys out there that love your trucks and cars so much, and even you ladies, if you give that car the kind of love and care and attention, Laurie, how often do you break down? Ever?
0. My car is very dependable.
And how many fender benders have you been involved in the past couple of years? Very many at all?
Nope.
Okay. And you haven't had any major natural disasters like something falling on your car or hurting your car, right?
No. Mm-mm. I put a bubble of protection around my car when I leave my car.
This truck leaves the driveway and almost comes back on a daily, if not weekly basis with major dents in the front, the back, the side, underneath, on top.
To me, it's about the energy. It really is all about the energy. So.
And I don't drive the truck. Well, except for
you feed energy. You feed it. That's how I see it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever that person's doing, that owner of that vehicle, whatever, I can just see it. I can feel it when I get in even the seats are crooked, are uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
It's only a 2014. Okay.
Yeah. It's about the energy. Yeah. That's very important. So your intent is everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So here's some even more examples of what we're talking about. So this first guy is Professor J. Chunder Bose. Did I say that right, Laurie?
Yeah. Schunder. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So his experiment was inspired by the thought that there is no dead matter, which is no different than what the Rosicrucians are teaching. Mm-hmm. He proceeded with the fundamental postulate that the best test for this was to see if metals and other things branded as non-living would respond to external stimuli. He has demonstrated with instruments like the galvanometer that organic, aka nerve and muscles, and the so-called inorganic matter, aka metals and minerals, reacts similarly, if not indeed identical, to outside stimulus. So I thought that was extremely interesting.
Yes, it is.
And from what you were talking about, Teresa, this kind of shows you the connection that we have with rocks.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
So yeah, and he has shown many other things within his work. He's shown that they sleep. They've shown that they get fatigued and regenerate, like how I explained in the last panel, through rest. Mm-hmm. They react, depending on the metal, either positively or negatively. They'll react to certain temperatures of cold and hot. Mm-hmm. They can get sick. They can be cured. They can even be killed. He has shown, so that even shows that, yes, these materials have a soul. It's just they're expressed in different ways because their existence of being is on a different stage of evolution.
And that's how it's possible.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we were having this discussion also about how important this is for engineers to understand, because there are, and they already do know, of certain types of metals that they can't use for certain weight-bearing structures, bridges, high rises. There's certain metals that will wear and tear more quickly, or they'll buckle, or they'll bend. And particularly if you live in places like California and you're building along the Andreas Fault, there are certain things you cannot build with. And we've been relearning that. But I think it's a knowledge we've had over the ages, what works and what doesn't. What we can move more quickly and lift doesn't necessarily mean we should be building huge structures with it. Look at the one pyramid in Egypt that was collapsing.
Yeah, I think it says a lot about how things are forged, how things are brought, how the materials are brought together, and how it's forged.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so let's look into some even more examples.
Okay.
So Dr. Charles Bastian and Professor Burke. I couldn't find faces for them, so I got Google to bring up their experiments through it. So it's probably hard to see, so I'll read some of it.
Okay.
So Bastian's experiments involved creating sterile infusions of organic matter, similar to those used by other scientists of the era, like Pasteur, Spallanzani, who were investigating the origins of life. He sealed these solutions in flasks and then exposed them to heat to sterilize them, aiming to destroy any pre-existing microorganisms or their spores. However, unlike the experiments of Pasteur and others that ultimately led to this discrediting of spontaneous generation, Bastian's flasks repeatedly showed the appearance of new bacterial growth. So he killed everything, made it inorganic, but it was still generating organic life, which could be argued that those inorganic matters were actually alive, and he was showing in real time the evolution process. He took this as evidence supporting his belief that life could spontaneously arise from the non-living material in the infusions.
Interesting.
Bastian was from London, England, and he has prepared and exhibited more than 500 microphotographs showing the evolution of organic living forms from the inorganic non-living. So next, we have Professor Burke from Cambridge, England. He claims to have produced certain minute living bodies that manifested both growth and reproduction. Hi, Jet. From sterilized ebullience by the action of sterilized radium chloride. So what he did was he had beef broth, and then he introduced radium salts, including radium chloride, into it, sterilizing it. His results led to the formation of small, lifelike structures he termed radiobes. These radiobes, starting as microscopic spots, grew and developed internal structures resembling bacteria over several days. Burke believed these forms existed at the border of living and non-living matter and could potentially represent an ancestor to life itself.
Huh. Wow.
Yep. So yeah, that's crazy to think about, that these scientists were actually generating organic things out of inorganic materials. It really makes you think, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Never knew it was called a galvanometer.
Yeah, like galvanometer. I can't say it. It's a big word. I can say
galvanometer. A galvanometer. Yeah. Cool.
Now, another way that shows the proof of what Rosicrucians and other cults talks about is the concept called metallic vegetation. So, metallic vegetation refers to plants known as hyperaccumulators, which have evolved to absorb, tolerate, and store high concentrations of metals from the soil in their tissues. So this shows the link between plants and rocks. Any student of chemistry or physics is aware of metallic vegetation, specifically the case of the lead tree, where there was a manifestation of plant forms on certain metallic substances. The Rosicrucian doctrine goes over many more cases that show the link to this line of evolution to solidify the truth of the nature of the world, that everything is alive and a part of the flame. If you would like to read the rest of them, I recommend reading the book yourself. There's like 3 or 4 more examples that the book brings up showing that inorganic material is not inorganic at all. It is alive, but for time's sake, I cut some of them out. So.
Well, I think you've done a great job so far.
Thank you.
That's plenty. I mean,
Excellent.
I think you got the point home. Yeah.
Yep.
And thank you, Crow 11, for saying that. He says it's one of the better shows.
Yes.
Excellent subject tonight. Yeah.
Thank you. I have a lot of knowledge, and I finally have an outlet to just throw it all up.
Yeah.
I've been studying the occult since I was 13, and now a lot of people are going to listen to you.
That's true.
Especially when you're younger. So this is
Absolutely.
Yep. It's very healing for me to get acknowledged, so I do appreciate it.
Absolutely, our pleasure.
Yep.
Thank you for sharing.
Everywhere, Barry. It's the whole community. It's pitch black. Been going on all day.
Okay.
So, all right.
Your final thoughts?
And here are my final thoughts on part 6. The occult student only has to wait for modern science to catch up to prove what the esoteric teachings preach is true. They are even getting close to the old axiom of the occult: all power is willpower. I recommend reading Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard. I believe I said his name right.
Neville Goddard.
Neville Goddard, yes. To get into the right path of this truth. Materialists think mind and life are simply the qualities of matter. The adept student of the occult, however, knows that way of thinking is inverted, and to get to what is true, one must realize that matter is the garments to life and mind. Remember, O student, the Rosicrucian aphorism that the fire is in everything and everywhere. There is nothing dark or cold within its sphere. Heed me, O earthling, for you can transmute the dark into the light of the light. This is one of your reasons of being. When I read the way they mentioned the Rosicrucian aphorism, I actually channeled Thoth, because the way Thoth, he's a master of writing, right? So he's put his influence in everything, and he has little tidbits where he shows he himself is talking about this part. And one of the times is when that happens, when he goes, "Oh something, oh student, oh man, oh person." So when that happened, phew, I turned into Thoth, and that last little bit was Thoth himself talking.
Nice.
Yeah.
Brought him through, huh?
Yeah. Very, very heavy memory and reintegration when I read that phrase.
Interesting.
Yep. And it's probably why I have graphene synesthesia. In another video that we talked about.
Yeah.
In noetic experiences, graphene synesthesia is when, similar to how like people can see auras, but instead of seeing it on people, I see it on letters. So when I'm searching something or researching something, the words that you see now that are in black, they will change colors for me. And I use that as color coding to find things, basically.
Interesting. Synesthesia. Yep.
So yes.
Excellent.
So yeah, when I saw that phrase, I was like, well, Thoth helped write this book just like every other book. I was like, he was probably just in a different reincarnation.
Or working through you and many others. Yeah.
And they might have noticed that he was there. They might have not. But I've picked up on some of his.
You're tapped into the Thoth energy.
You're tapping into the thought form of thought. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Excellent.
I thought that was really
you might find through vision or dreams, you never know, but you might find you are another emanation of Thoth himself.
That's what I believe. That's what he told me. That's what my first teacher Scott told me. That's what my memories are telling me. So I don't feel very arrogant in claiming it.
Dalibor was just as tapped in my opinion, to the Thoth energy as well.
Oh yeah.
So
Thoth,
it's interesting that you're taking over that.
Yeah. Thoth
role.
Thoth is a very high dimensional being at this point. So they can do things like reincarnate into multiple people at once, and they're all him, just different clothing.
Well, Dalibor was a reflection because I'm the one that brought him into that. And I said, Dalibor, you're Thoth and Thoth is you. You're an aspect of Thoth.
Yep.
And he was blown away by that because he was greatly honored by it. And I said, go to him now and talk to him yourself.
Yep.
Now that all I did was make the introduction.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the idea.
Yep.
Of the idea. I see connections all the time with people, and then they go and make their own. I just see it, and I saw it in him. I see it in you too. Definitely.
Absolutely.
The fact that everyone thought of Dalibor shows confirmation on it. I see that as proof. Don't need physical proof to show proof.
Yeah. We all miss him. Yep. Absolutely. We do. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay.
So that is the conclusion to part 2.
All right.
We are almost halfway through the Rosicrucian doctrine.
Okay.
So if I'm taking a guess, there's going to be at least 2 more episodes on it.
Excellent. Looking forward to that. Yep. Now we do. Thank you for that wonderful presentation.
Thank you. Awesome.
Nick. You're just such an honor and a pleasure to listen to you and to understand what's going on from a completely different perspective. So it's just fascinating, and I love that we're presenting this. Teresa, you have something you wanted to present as well regarding the androgyne aspects of the soul?
Yes. I wanted to tell folks, and I didn't get a chance to share it with Nick prior to the show. But I had remembered a little bit about this at one time, so I started madly looking it up today because I wanted to know if I understood it or if it was just a little unrelated, but it's not. It's related to this. Some of you might be familiar with the Zuni tribes, the Zuni of New Mexico area, the Pueblo Indians and all that. They have a deep understanding of both divine feminine and masculine energy, which they express through their creation stories and their mythology and social structures. It's not recent, but it's Western influence interpretation nowadays, but it was a fundamental working knowledge to their traditional worldview. And they have a concept of dividing energy between, they believe that all energy is gender fluid creative. So the gender fluid creator, the primary creative being, is described as the maker and container of all and is gender fluid. It is the soul being that initiates creation by manifesting as the Sun Father informing the Earth Mother. This was like Rosicrucian belief. Complementary forces in the creation myth, the Earth Mother and Sky Father are a sexual pair from whom all terrestrial life is conceived. All terrestrial life, all life on Earth is conceived. This highlights the importance of the union of feminine and masculine energies to bring life into this world. They believe in the balance of deities. The Zuni pantheon includes powerful masculine and feminine figures who work together to maintain cosmic and natural harmony. There are aspects of divine feminine here's just a few that they recognize: Earth Mother, Moon Mother, Old Lady, Salt, and White Shell Woman. Divine masculine aspects are Sun Father, the twin war gods, and numerous other male deities and Kachina spirits. Their spiritual understanding of gender has also paralleled in Zuni society, recognizing gender fluidity. And I'm going to tell you something that blew my mind. They have, and this person you see over my shoulder is Wiwa. And Wiwa is what is known in Zuni as a Hamana. And the Hamana is embedded in their culture, referring to male-bodied individuals who embody both masculine and feminine characteristics and roles within their community. Recognized as early on as childhood, the Amana undertook a unique social and ceremonial position, performing tasks traditionally associated with both men and women, such as weaving pottery and other crafts and serving as spiritual leaders. This role was respected, valued, and seen as a distinct and integrated part of Zuni life before the impact of Anglo-American colonization. So Wiwa, this person here over my shoulder, endeavored to preserve the history, traditions, and knowledge of the Zuni people. It just so happens that this being is recognized early on when they're first developing. They're 3, 4, 5 years old. They start showing the traits of being two-spirited, because the word for it means two-spirited. So they have both spirits inside of them, and the tribal elders recognize this in them, and they give them a pathway for their journey to become a third gender within the existence of the Zuni people. So they have males, females, and this being right here, who possesses both divine masculine and feminine. It's typically a male, and they sometimes, but not always, dress like females too sometimes, but only when they're doing the female-related tasks like the pottery, the artwork, grinding corn, the types of things that women would do. When it comes to spiritual teaching, they are the wisdom keepers and wisdom. They are the receptacles of all of the male knowledge keepers and shamans in the village. Give them the information to be the holder of that secret knowledge about certain teachings.
They're the spiritual
the spiritual leaders, yeah. They're also like political representatives. They do a lot of social PR work between tribal leaders, and like an ambassador type of role.
Yeah.
So on a divine masculine level, they're spiritual teachers and that, but they're considered to be a separate gender, folks. It's not that they were born with female body parts and male body parts. That's not what we're talking about. It's on a spiritual level that they have the feminine and masculine balance.
Yep.
They have the whole of the two energies.
Yep, they just
the whole
use
of the two energies.
Yeah.
They just use the body parts to represent the symbolism behind it.
Yeah, but they're not physically necessarily have two sets of organs. Yeah. We're talking about on a spiritual, the energetic level. And they had Badger people and Dogwood people, two different groups of people that they refer to themselves not as me, he or she, but we and they. So they actually were raised to practice to learn all that ceremonial knowledge, cultural rituals, right?
Yeah.
So when the Americans landed, I wanted to tell you really quickly what happened to Wiwa and why I picked them is because in 1448 to 1880 is the time range we're talking about here in this photo. 1848 to 1880. Wiwa was one of the first Zuni to sell their pottery and textiles, helping to bolster Indian arts throughout their land, but also a member of the Men's Kachina Society, which he did the rituals with the mask dances. And he joined the Medicine Society, the bedbug people. And after a shaman cured them of some kind of ailment, so all the membership in these societies enabled Wiwa, them, to further their knowledge of Zuni lore and ceremonies. Okay?
Mhm.
So what happened is that, let's skip over here to Anglo-Hispanic herders began to encroach on Zuni lands in 1870. Protestant missionaries were among them, determined to convert the Zuni to Christianity. In 1879, the U.S. government's newly created Bureau of Ethnology sent an expedition to collect artifacts from the Zuni tribe and customs of their people. An anthropologist, Matilda Cox Stevenson, who was the wife of expedition leader James Stevenson, was immediately taken with Wee-Waa after encountering them working for the local missionaries. Stevenson was impressed by Wee-Waa's extensive knowledge of Zuni history and culture, describing them as the most intelligent person in the Pueblo. Okay, so anyway, they took them to Washington, D.C. They took them to Washington, D.C. To meet, I guess, President Grover Cleveland. Grover Cleveland. And Stevenson intended the visit to foster cultural exchange and generate interest in further anthropological research. Everyone in Washington was thrilled. But after a couple weeks, started talking, yak, 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 yak. Everyone believed them, Wee-Waa, to be a cisgender woman. So the visit garnered a great deal of attention because women rarely participated in delegations in the first place, and it also triggered them about this discussion of whether they would accept or not accept the idea of cisgendership, right? So Wee-Waa mingled with DC's highly high society people, smash success, but returns back to Zuni country, right? After all this publicity and stuff, putting Zuni on the map, goes back, and within, let's see, it says, I don't know how long it was. Here we go. Wee-Waa may have intended to raise awareness about the Zuni in an effort to secure government assistance against squatters and other encroachers on their land. Wee-Waa's headline-making visit ensured that the Zuni were one of the most well-known Indian tribes amongst Americans in the 1880s. The name recognition did not stop the U.S. Office of Indian Affairs, however. They extended its policy of assimilation of the Zuni people and other Pueblo Indians in the years following Wee-Waa's return. Such policies furthered this dismantling of their tribal culture, including pressure to abandon the recognition of a third gender. Hamana individuals were no longer allowed to practice or serve in those roles within their societies, or dress as females, or adopt female practices. The absorption of the Indians into the Anglo society was underway. They forbidden her and other children who were also identified as Hamana individuals to even exist in that form. So they totally stamped out an entire spiritual practice belief system, which totally flipped out the Zuni people, and they started coming apart at the seams because that they believed the Lamana gender to be the center of their entire spiritual belief and understanding of creation.
Wow, fascinating.
So it ripped them apart. Wee-Waa crossed over in 1896 at the age of just 49 years old. As a result, they say, of heart disease. Wee-Waa's earthly death was considered a calamity among the Zuni, and the two-spirit Wee-Waa left a profound legacy, they say, as a ceremonial leader, a cultural ambassador, and an artist who worked to preserve the Zuni sacred way of life and sacred teachings of spirit. And you want to
Wow.
know why? You want to know why?
Why?
People went
Tell us
underground. Why people went underground.
Mm-hmm.
Why they had to practice in secret these truths.
They still go underground.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because this is how you bust up a society. This is how you kill a whole race of people by attacking their spiritual belief.
Mm-hmm. Control.
And taking that away. But it also goes to prove, and the Zuni is just one example, you all. A lot of the Aboriginals have their dream stories and their creation stories. And if you look very closely at some of the Dogon, you look very closely at what was in Sumer, and you start to get a sense of the truth that the Rosicrucians, were part of maintaining.
Mm-hmm.
So there's enough information here. There is enough examples to show you just how strong this belief system was and how natural this belief system is.
Mm-hmm.
And
Up to
so
the
it
point
might
that
make
science shows it.
yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
I think it's a good lesson for us today.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because a lot of the, and I'm going to go so far as to say it, I don't want to get political, but there are people who identify with different gender energies. There are people who identify differently.
Mm.
And it's okay.
Yep.
Because it's part of the natural. Spirit has different ways of expressing humans in different ways. And you make choices as a human as to what you vibrate with.
Well, it's the fabric of the soul.
It's the fabric of, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's natural to pick one or the other or both or all five.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And who are we to sit back and call you unnatural because you want to be that way? Mm-hmm. And usually it's referring to sexual activity and not spiritual activity. But the truth of the matter is some of them, some people who identify one way or the other are some of the most spiritual people, lovable people you might know. So what difference does it matter to me how they want to express themselves? What difference does it matter to me? Mm-hmm. And why do people always come up and ask me, well, what do you prefer? Why do you care what I prefer? Or they walk up to somebody else on the street and they say, what's your sexual preference? It's like, are you kidding me? Is this high school from back in the 1960s? Stop asking the question and just accept their energy for who the purity of their energy is and let them be who they want to be and express themselves. How you never know how spirit is working on someone or what their life's path is or their purpose for being here. Mm-hmm. They might
Acceptance,
have
allowance. Yep.
They might have a deeply spiritual influence on a group of people that have none, that are tearing something apart, and they can make it better by being whatever to them. Mm-hmm. So anyway, keep an open mind and an open heart about these things because a lot of it is backed up not only by science, but spirituality itself.
Yeah.
The way I see it is that if even dark matter isn't considered unnatural, then nothing's unnatural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Wow.
Amen.
Well, you guys, this has been a fascinating discussion. Just mind-blowing. Just a lot to take in. So
yeah.
I really do like how the Rosicrucians in a chronological aspect brought up the one in the many along with the flame.
Mm-hmm.
Because the flame divides itself into the one in the many. And by one in the many, I don't mean just people and animals. Mm-hmm. I mean everything that's within this reality.
The all. The all that is. All. Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I really like how they do it.
Yeah. Well, listen, you guys, we've been on for quite some time. It's time to wrap it up. And looking forward to next week. So we'll be doing Esoteric Secret Societies Part 3. And we'll be looking forward to that, Nick. Really loving this series. So, and again, if you want to catch the first one, check the playlist. I'll include this one with the playlist. So you'll have 1 and 2 on the playlist.
I highly recommend it. Otherwise, you're going to be missing pieces of
the definitely check it out.
It's fantastic, Nick. I really loved it. Yeah.
Nick did a great job. Listen, I'd like to ask, give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you like. Look for us next week. We're here every Friday, And we're looking forward to that. Want to thank everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for your comments, your likes, subscribes, your support. It's greatly appreciated. And we'll look forward to seeing you all next week. And, have a great week and enjoy life. And yeah, that's really it.
Oh, and thank you, everybody. I need to thank you for pulling for me and standing behind me and sending great intents. There were so many of you. It finally happened. My dream is coming true.
Yeah.
So if everything goes well over the next couple of weeks, I'll be out of here as of October 1st. So
excellent.
It's come to fruition. It took a long time, but man, you all really stood behind me.
Thanks for the good intent.
That. So thank you.
Congrats,
awesome.
Teresa.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
Wonderful. All right. All right, you guys. Peace and love to everyone. Take care. We'll see you next week.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Good night, everyone.